Welcome to my video and thank you so much for watching my summer 2020 book haul. Some of these are books that I've read, some are books that I have not read, and at the beginning of September next month I will do a wrap-up of what I have read this summer and a TBR of what I'd like to read in the fall. They will probably overlap a little because these are books that I obviously already have and I haven't read them all, but I'm really excited to go through them. These are mostly books that I'm excited to read. There are a few in here that I got because they were a good deal. So the first book is Where the Crawdads Sing, and you can see I only have the dust cover because I read this and then I lent it to my father-in-law. I thought he might like this. I'm sure everyone knows about this, but it's about a girl in a marsh and her growing up and also a murder trial, and it has flashbacks. So this one I will talk about in my summer wrap up. Next I have Rebecca, and this is one I've wanted to read for a long time and never really bought, it was never at the top of my list. But then I was in Barnes & Noble the other day and I saw this cover, and I know there's, dozens of covers at this point, but I just liked this. It was like a weird, looks like an 80s romance, and I actually hate these mass market paperbacks, but I just loved this. It looked like steamy and red, and so it made me buy it. I haven't read this yet. I'm looking to read this in the winter when it's a little bit more cold, based on the recommendations from friends. These are in no particular order. I just kind of plopped all the books that I've purchased down on this chest over here. Next I have Little Fires Everywhere. Again, another one that I feel like everyone has read and I felt like I had to read. And then there's also the show, and I started watching the show. Turns out the show and the book seem pretty different. I'll talk more about this in my wrap up, but it's basically these two moms and then also about a baby. I don't even know how to describe this, but you'll hear about more of what I feel in my wrap up, but you can probably tell I didn't love this. Another book I've read, Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. This is about a lawyer, Bryan. It's nonfiction, and it also was made into a movie, which I haven't seen because no one will watch it with me because I think everyone knows that it's going to be really sad and I don't want to watch it alone and just cry alone. But anyway, it's about a lawyer and all the cases he served on and getting people, specifically people of color, off of death row, especially the people who've been put there unjustly. I'll talk more about this in my wrap up, but this is a good book. I would say a must read. I have The Good Daughter by Karin Slaughter, and this I got because it was really cheap. I'm not super into it, but I have really been into like thrillers and mysteries lately. So I'll definitely read it. I do know that there's some graphic violence, including rape, in this book, which I didn't know buying it. It's definitely not at the top of my TBR pile, but I am interested. Next we have The Shadows by Alex North, which was my July book of the month pick, I think. Yeah, and this I did read, and I'll talk more again about it, but it's basically about 4 friends and murders. It's a thriller. It was a little spooky. It's a little paranormal. It is about lucid dreams, which I did not know based on like any of the details I've seen, and if I knew that I probably would not have picked it up, but I have to say I really ended up liking this book. But again, I'll talk more about that in my wrap up. Next, I have Janet Evanovich, Tricky 22, one of the Stephanie Plum novels. I just read this. I was a little bit behind on the books because I get a little sad when I don't have another one to read. I have, I think, all of the books except for the first 2. I don't know where they are, but these are books I've read throughout my life since I was probably way too young to be reading these, and I love them. I blew through this because I was so excited to read one again. There's a lot of nostalgia there for me. So this is basically about a bounty hunter in New Jersey, and she has like kind of one real love interest and then one other love interest. It's like a mystery romance type of novel, and she gets herself into some silly situations, and it's just an easy, good read. Like, this is the type of book I would read on the beach. It's like a page turner sometimes, and then sometimes there's a little bit of intimate romance, and I just love these books. You'll see I have more. Next, I have 3 Harry Potter books. I have The Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and then Prisoner of Azkaban. I have read this. I've read these before. I've read the whole series, but I haven't read them as an adult. I read them, I think, in elementary, middle, and high school, depending when they came out. I do think I should have bought these secondhand. I didn't really consider it. I know J.K. Rowling has made some gross, weird, and sensitive statements. Should have bought these secondhand. I did look at my parents for my copies. They were in hardback, and I don't love a paperback, and couldn't find them. So I ended up buying them. I have The Turn of the Key, which I bought, again, because it was very cheap, and I heard Kayla, Books and Lala, I think. I used to follow her when she was talking about cloth diapering, and I knew she made a book channel, and I stopped watching YouTube for a while, and then I got back into her. So anyway, she loves this book, and I saw it for cheap, and I thought I'll just pick this up. I'm currently reading it. I'm a little over halfway. Maybe you'll be able to see. This is what I have to read. This is what I've already read. I hopefully will finish this today, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in my wrap-up. Okay, these are both $5 a piece. More Stephanie Plum novels, so Turbo 23, and then I have Hardcore 24. I'm sure that I'll devour these whenever I'm ready to read them. I kind of save them for when I really want to read them, because I don't want to be without them. And I think there's another book, but it just came out, maybe 1 or 2 books. And like I said, I like having these to fall back on when I'm in a rut. Okay, last 2 books. This is The Whisper Man by Alex North, which I got, again, for very inexpensive, I think $5 at Barnes & Noble. I got this because I loved The Shadows. Is that what it's called? Yeah. And I figured this one is supposed to be even better. I'll probably love this. I was thinking about waiting to read it for October, but I am thinking that I have so many other mysteries and thrillers. I'll just read this whenever I want to, probably after The Turn of the Key, because as you'll see with my next book, I like to read 2 at once. A lighter, when I say lighter, I don't even mean lighter. I just mean like something that doesn't scare me as much. So this will probably scare me. So now I'm home at night, and I just am too scared to pick this up. I like to pick up my other book. And typically that book is like a little less read because I'm just more into a page turner. And the last book, which is the book I'm also currently reading, Daisy Jones and the Six. Again, felt like I was obligated to read this because everyone loved it last year or whenever it came out. And I'm, around halfway done. I like this. It's about like a band in the 70s. It's fictional, but it's in like interview format. It's in the VH1 Behind the Music Band Scenes, whatever it is, show, which is kind of hard to read, for me at least. So I don't know how I feel about this yet. I like it. I just don't really, it doesn't compel me to read it. I only read it when I want to read and I'm either too scared to pick up my thriller, or I'm finished my other book and I have nothing else to read. So what'll probably happen is that I'm going to just finish this after my Turn of the Key book, and I'm not going to let myself start anything else because I just having a hard time. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe and have a great day.